Welcome back to GA Fan TV. Mayo 111, Galway 2A at McHale Park in Castlebar. It ends in a draw. A late Ryan O'Donoghue point right at the death seals a draw in the end for Mayo. A game that was very scrappy, to say the honest. It was very, very scrappy. Neither side really looked like they wanted to win the game. Galway only kicked 3 points in the second half, along with that goal in the second half as well by Sean Kelly. But it was very, very scrappy, and it was very, very sort of early National Football League game that you sort of see a lot of the time up and down the country when these two play each other. Or sort of like in the opening day of a National Football League, you do get a lot of games like this. It was similar in many ways in the Dublin and Kildare game earlier. Now, there was a lot more quality on show here and a lot more to offer between these two as to what we've seen in Dublin and Kildare. I mean, those two are in Division 2 for a reason. But it was very, very scrappy, and you could see both sides not at the full pace, not at full fitness, and maybe not even at full fitness. I think fitness-wise, both sides were going at it. Like, it looked like both teams probably had another 5-10 minutes in them. But you just got that kind of feeling that the sort of, like, it just wasn't quite there. There was something missing from both sides. And look, both teams were missing some of their best players. I mean, Galway didn't have Shane Walsh, and they obviously don't have Liam Silk either, for example, who didn't feature today. Mayo still have the likes of Killian O'Connor came off the bench. You still have Tommy Conroy still to come back in. So both sides are nowhere near their best two teams available. But I have to say, like, although maybe in terms of scoring wise, in terms of drama or anything like that, it was a very, very good game to watch. I thought it was kept you on the edge of your seat. You didn't know which way this game was going to go. The goals were of high quality. I mean, James Carr, what a wonderful, wonderful finish that was in the first half. I mean, he scored an absolute cracker against Galway a couple of years ago. I feel like Galway fans must be sick of the sight of him because, he sort of disappeared for a couple of years. We didn't really, hear too much from him. I think he had a couple of injury issues. He was in and out of the side, back in the team. And what an absolute cracking goal that was from himself there early on in the first half. Really just set the tempo of the game. And yeah, a couple of dodgy refereeing decisions as well. Matthew Ruan's black card, I've no idea what that was for. I seen on the TV what they gave it for, but I've no idea why the referee gave that. I mean, you can clearly see Sean Kelly drags him down, and the referee decides to give a black card to Matthew Ruan. Like, if anything, it should have been a yellow card for Sean Kelly, or possibly even a black card. So that was a very, very strange decision. And fair play to Mayo, even despite that kind of thing going against them, they still managed to overcome that and still managed to come back into the game. I mean, Galway got a black card a couple of minutes later, in fairness. But yeah, like a scrappy game, not the greatest game you'll watch in terms of quality, in terms of points kicking and everything else. But it was highly, highly entertaining, and it certainly did have you on the edge of your seat. Bob Toohey, I thought, was very fun. Was very, very good for Mayo. He was very involved. I think he kicked 2 points in the game. But he was very involved in everything good that Mayo done. He was setting up plays. He was tracking back. And I think to have another addition in your attack like him, he looked like more of a sort of workhorse forward, which I think is what Mayo need. I thought he was very, very good, in fairness, and probably one of the picks for man of the match, in my opinion. From a Galway perspective, Damien Comer, I mean, again, absolutely brilliant. But a little bit of a different role this time around. The Northie obviously picked up on it in half time, the coverage, where he's sort of dropping a lot more deeper, picking up the ball in deeper spaces, setting up things around them, as well as scoring. 3 very, very good points from him, a couple of which from place balls. And yeah, like, I felt like it was a weird game because there was times where you thought, Galway are going to kick on here and win this game. And then they'd go flat-footed, wouldn't be able to find the rhythm, would lose the ball. And there was just a lot of turnovers, really, wasn't there? A lot of turnovers, and shooting-wise, it just wasn't there for either side. I think if these two meet each other in a Connacht final or a Connacht semi-final, they can't play each other in a Connacht final, or even more, like in a league final potentially, or even in the championship at some point further down the line. I think you'll see a lot more quality from these two sides. I think it's early days in the league. And you could quite see that. But I think from a Mayo perspective, though, you'll be very, very happy in the end, getting that draw, getting that point. First of all, you're stopping your rivals from beating you in your own backyard. But then second of all, it could be a big point in the outcome of the season. And I think from a Mayo perspective, like, there was a huge amount of fight on show there. a lot of turnovers, a lot of men working really, really hard. And I think that was great to see from, a Kevin McStay point of view. Like, he's come in as manager and you can clearly see he's got a kick into those lads and they look really, really up for it. And, if their shooting had been a little bit better, I think they would have won the game, because I thought they were slightly the better side, in my opinion, although it was fairly even. Galway, I just don't know what it was about them. Like, there was times they just looked really, really good, and then they'd sort of just go missing. Like, in the second half, they obviously get that goal from Sean Kelly, which came against a run of play. Lovely bit of move and a fantastic finish from Sean Kelly. I think it might have been set up by Peter Cook, who came on sort of halfway through the first half, and I think it was Robert Finnerty who went off injured. But he sets him up brilliantly. Kelly, what a fantastic finish in off the post. Couldn't have put it in any better position. But Galway just couldn't kick on. And it wasn't like they were missing a huge amount of chances. They just couldn't really get into the right positions or the right places. And, it was a strange one from them, really. But at the same time, like, a draw away at Mayo isn't the worst result. But obviously, conceding that late chance to Ryan O'Donoghue, like, there was an opportunity there to close their lines and they didn't do so. O'Donoghue gets onto it, and what a wonderful, wonderful finish. I mean, what is he? 30-odd yards out, hits it with his right boot, bends over the bar. That is, classic Mayo in more ways than one. We've seen that so many times. They look dead and buried, and then they pull something out of absolutely nothing. And what a wonderful... And to be fair, it wasn't out of absolutely nothing, because I think Mayo deserves something from this game. Just looking at it here, Ryan O'Donoghue with 6 points, James Carr with the goal. He got himself into some good positions, James Carr, even after that goal, but he just couldn't quite sort his feet out, or, like, you can see there's a player there and he's got brilliant running ability, but he just can't quite sort his feet out at times in those sort of attacking positions. Jordan Flynn with a point, Bob Toohey in there, Jeremy O'Connor and Matthew Ryan both with a score as well. From a Galway perspective, Sean Kelly with the goal, Killy McDade and Paul Conroy both got on the score sheet. Paul Kelly with a point. Matthew Tierney obviously with that goal as well from the lob ball in, and he obviously just sort of got ahead of Colm Reap. Obviously a big game for Colm Reap coming in for Robbie Henley. Probably, could have done a bit better there, in fairness. But obviously, long way to go obviously in this league just yet. And Damien Comer with 3 points. Robert Finnerty on the score sheet as well. And I suppose from a Mayo perspective, like, how much of a plus is it that you can bring on Aidan O'Shea, Cillian O'Connor, I think Kevin McLaughlin came on as well, Owen McLaughlin. Like, that's, a very, very experienced bench. And to be fair, you'd expect maybe Cillian O'Connor to start. Like, when he starts, when he kind of gets up to full fitness. But to bring those men off the bench, like, that's a very, very good squad. And I think most Mayo supporters and most even opposition supporters, when you're seeing those men come off, Aidan O'Shea, to be fair, came on, I think played a full forward. He was very quiet. I didn't really see him do much, to be perfectly honest. I think with Matty Rowan getting the black card, he dropped kind of back into midfield, so we didn't really get to see him sort of in the position that I think Kevin McStay wanted to play him in, which was a full forward. We're going to throw long balls in and hope for the best. I don't think we quite got that, to be fair. But we'll run through some comments here. Jack says, exciting game, some poor quality. Yeah, just both sides just kind of turning each other over. Poor passes, misplaced passes, all the rest. Mikey says, fair result in the end, as entertaining as an early league game gets. Mayo with a better team in the second half. Poor shot choices cost us the game. Yeah, just a little bit of, poor shooting. A few chances dropped short. I remember from Aidan Orme in the first half. Just a few chances that went to begging. Mayo badly missing Tommy Conroy. If he stays fit, you can't write them off. That's the thing about Mayo, is that I remember even saying that last year, is they've got a very, very good squad. From 1 to 15, very, very strong starting 15. But then they've got a lot of very, very good options coming off the bench as well. Whether it be Aidan O'Shea, Cillian O'Connor, Aidan Orme, James Carr. Like, they've got a very, very well-rounded squad. And I think that's something that, that stands to teams when you're trailing by 1 or 2 points going into injury time. And I think bringing, O'Connor, for example, got a point late on there in that game, in this game. And that goes to show the impact that players can have coming off the bench. I mean, we've seen it in years for Dublin. So it's I think from a Mayo perspective, from their supporters, to see those players, maybe they're not good enough to start anymore, but to bring them off the bench, that's absolutely huge as well. and yeah, from a Mayo perspective, like you still have other lads to come in, like just looking at your team there, Paddy Durkin, for example, he didn't start. No Connor Loftus, I don't think either. Connor McStay, you look good in pre-season. Another player to potentially bring off the bench. So yeah, positive from a Mayo perspective. And from Galway, to be disappointed they didn't finish Mayo off when they had the chance to. But at the same time, there was some good showings in there. Good to see Peter Cook on the pitch. Damien Comer looking good as ever. And of course, still have the likes of Shane Walsh and whatnot to come back into the side as well. So go ahead and wrap this up here. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and see you all tomorrow.